Learn the most empowering hiring techniques. Land the most desirable talent. Launch your company towards massive success. This is the Higher Power Radio Show with your host, Rick Girard.
All right, imagine this, never having to pay a job board for candidates ever again. Sounds great, doesn't it? Now, look, we all know there are no unicorns, haystack needles, or purple squirrels on job boards. Not to say that this never happens, but it's extremely rare. Now, if you have landed an A player this way, consider yourself lucky. The truth is that high performers are actively working, but they crave growth and new challenges. Occasionally, they peek their heads up to see what's out there, and this is where the opportunity lies. But here's the problem. They don't know who you are. Now, there's a simple solution for that, which is social media.
Yep.
If they know who you are, what do you think the chances are that you'd be able to hire them when the timing is right? I'm Rick Girard, and welcome to the Higher Power Radio Show. We help entrepreneurs and executives win the strongest people. We do so by sharing insights from top performing rebel entrepreneurs, game changers, and industry leaders like our guest today, Mr. Matt Plapp. Now, Matt is the Chief Energy Officer, I love that, CEO, of Restaurant Marketing That Works, leading a team of 50 marketing experts dedicated to helping restaurant owners boost sales. Since 2008, Matt has been the leader in helping restaurants get trackable results from their marketing. He's pioneered a VIP program through Facebook Messenger that helped thousands of restaurants drive six figures in annual sales growth, and was the topic of his first book, Don't 86 Your Restaurant Sales, which is what makes Matt the perfect expert for today's topic. Matt, welcome to the Higher Power Radio Show today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. So, you know what, actually, this content that we're going to talk about today, I'm kind of excited about because this is something that is kind of new to the show. But, you know, we're going to talk about really utilizing social networking to attract talent.
Yep.
And that's not something that we as CEOs naturally gravitate toward. You do a phenomenal job of it. So
Sure.
I'm going to let you go. Like, you know, what was that one thing that got you going on making the decision that, hey, I'm going to be a Facebook influencer?
It was back in 2016, was actually where you're at in California. A guy named Billy Jean Shaw in San Diego was my first business coach I hired in this company. And I think that's something we all fail to do when we get out of college. High school, college is study, have a coach. And so it was kind of foreign to me, but I brought Billy on as a coach. I joined a training he had, a mastermind. And the one thing he was adamant on was storytelling, and was using your cell phone to tell stories. It's like right now, my phone is sitting to the side, recording me from a different angle, tell this story. And
Nice.
I will give it to my editing team, and they will chop it up and find something in here that resonates with somebody. But Billy's big thing was using you and you as the brand, but more than anything, using all the free media out there, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and using that to make sure that when people found you from a marketing standpoint, that they were reassured that this is the guy. And I talk about this a lot from a marketing standpoint, that as a marketing expert myself, imagine if a restaurant owner looked at my company and said, I think Matt's companies are a good fit for us. And then he went to my Facebook page, my Instagram, and it was nothing. And I was a ghost. Well, that's like having a fat personal trainer. It's like having a broke accountant pull up. Like, how can somebody be preaching something and not using it? And I do a daily podcast every single day. I have for almost 3 years. I write every single day. I've been creating content since Billy taught me to in 2016, 17. But the biggest aspect I found out, and I'll be honest, by complete accident, is the aspect of using your social media to nurture people around you that will be your next A player on your team. And it was kind of funny because when I started doing it, I had friends of mine that, like, I'd walk in the gym, oh, he's not live on Facebook today. What are you doing? Like, that was the joke. This is going back, 8-9 years ago. And at first you were like, you had to like swallow your pride, because none of us like being on video. None of us like talking in front of a camera. And so there's those awkward moments of what you look like, what you sound like. We all think we're morons when it comes to this stuff. And then once you get over that, and then you realize people are paying attention, is what's impactful. And so when I started doing that, and within, I'd say 18 to 24 months, I started to have friends of mine that I never knew watched what I did bring up topics of mine that I'm thinking, that was my video last week. That was like 10 minutes in. Why is this crazy person watching my video on this? And so at that point, I started leaning into it. And we showcase everything. Like tonight, I'm taking 12 of our team to a golf simulator to celebrate the last 6 weeks, a big sales push we did for Thanksgiving. We've got a money bucket. We've got like $3,700 in cash that we're giving out. And we will broadcast that. I'll put that out there and people will see it. And somebody will be like, one day I'm going to work there. One day. And I had a podcast I did today. I have an acronym I use that I lead by: lead, market, sell. And as the CEO, every day I need to wake up and lead my team, market my business, and sell my vision. On my desk every day is my vivid vision. It's a 6-page document that spells out where our company will be by May 17th, 2027. It's got a part in here on our employees, on our team, on our culture, on our 2 different companies, and on our next headquarters. And it's funny because I've never seen this out of anybody besides people that showed me how to do it. And I've had more employees, more friends contact me about things in here specifically. I had a friend of mine the other day. It's like, hey, I'm 2 years from retiring from a government job. I will work for you. I don't know where, but I will work for you. I can't leave now because I've got so many years of pension, but I will work for your company, Matt, in 2 years. And it's all because she sees what we put out there, the culture. She sees the inappropriate crap we say in here because we're our true selves. She sees the fun environment. She sees me grilling out at the front door one Friday every month, steaks and ribs for the employees. And I think if you don't broadcast that stuff, you're doing yourself an injustice. And all you're going to do is build a company off people looking for jobs versus people looking to work in a culture.
You know what? That resonates with me so much because I always thought my thinking was, hey, look, I'm too busy to do it.
Yep.
Frankly. And I think a lot of us CEOs, hey, look, if people see me on social media all the time, they're thinking I'm not working. But it's exactly the opposite, isn't it? That's what just popped in my mind right now is that, you know what, I think we're really doing ourselves a disservice in not getting our brand, our personal brand out there, because quite frankly, when people see you and they get to know you, they want to work for you if they resonate with you.
Yep.
And the opposite is even better. When people don't resonate with you and they don't like you, they don't apply. And that's a good thing.
And you want people to want to work for you. I always tell people my vision, when you apply for a job here, you're applying to work for Matt Plapp, number one. Number two is you're applying to work in one of our 3 divisions: our corporate umbrella, Restaurant Marketing That Works, our media company, America's Best Restaurants, or our software driver. And then once you're in there, you're applying for the job that you're going to have. And to be quite honest with you, the majority of people in our company in 5 years shouldn't be in the same place. I teach a lot of my employees that if I don't make them better while they're here, then I failed, because I kind of always equate back to the Tim Tebow thing. I don't know if you're a football fan or not, but I remember watching Tim Tebow in college, and he led Florida to a couple of Super Bowl or a couple of national championships. He gets the NFL, and he's a terrible NFL quarterback because his college coach didn't prepare him for the NFL. And I'm open about that with my employees, that there's a good chance you'll have another job after this. And so while you're here, it's my job to make you the best you possibly can, so at your next job, you can make more money and be a badass. Well, when you put that out there to people, and I put it on social media, people that are watching are like, I've never heard of that. Like who hires somebody and talks about training them for their next job? It doesn't exist. And so that's one of the things that social media gives you the power to do, is to create the narrative that you want. And I had a podcast the other day talking about 1999 versus 2019. And it was the opportunity that existed. When I got in radio in 1999, every business I worked with had one option to advertise: spend money. By radio, by TV, direct mail, cable, billboards, sports sponsorships. In 2019, 20 years later, you've got 15 to 20 channels that are available in people's pockets, in the bathroom, in line at the restaurant, at a stoplight, at their desk, and they're free. And it's not only an opportunity to market your business, but it's an opportunity to market you. How many of us love? I mean, I love it. If I'm out of business, I was at a casino the other day. I'm like, that's the owner. I knew who it was. That's the owner's daughter. Like it's pretty cool because like you see it, you admire what they've built. And most consumers are like that. If they're in a restaurant and they look over and go, that's the guy that owns this joint. That's his wife. That's his daughter. Like they admire you more than you realize. And at the same time, every single thing you put out there is a chance to not only nurture them as a customer, but nurture them as your next employee, nurture their kid as your next employee. If I walked out in our sales area right now, Katie and Ansley are both out there. And so is Stacy and Randy. Stacy and Randy's kids played sports with my kids for 3 to 4 years before they came to work here. Katie and Ansley went to high school with my daughter, and Katie's parents graduated with me. Katie's parents saw that I was hiring for a job, recommended her to apply. She didn't tell me who her parents were. I didn't make the connection because the name wasn't unique. And she got the job. And after she's like, oh, you grew up with my parents. And she told me, I'm like, why didn't you tell me this? Because I wanted to get the job on my own, but my dad's the one who told me to come here. And so then Ansley was referred by Katie. So like you look at those 4 people, if Matt Plapp was radio silent, and when you say A players, they are A+ players. If I was radio silent on Facebook, Stacy, Randy, Katie, and Ansley would have never landed here. And I never would have had them. I'd have been on Indeed or Monster, if that still exists, looking for the person that thinks their job sucks and the next place is going to be better. And then that person's gone in 6 months.
Amen. Amen. So you're listening to the Higher Power Radio Show. I'm your host, Rick Girard. And for our podcast listeners, we're going to take a quick educational moment from our sponsors. All right, I'm digging in deeper with our guest, Matt Plapp. He's the CEO of Restaurant Marketing That Works. And we're talking a little bit about how he's been able to attract A players into his company. I want to tell me, if you look at your company right now, how many high performers or A players do you think that you have in your business?
I'd be willing to say right now we're 49 people as of today.
Yeah.
And I'd say there's only 1 or 2 that I would question if they're A player or not at their position. That's something that, when I look at, there's different levels in our company from a standpoint of customer service, copywriters, PR, videographers, editors, salespeople, and executives. I can only look at 1 or 2 people in our company and say, do they have that next gear? Are they the top? Everybody else is there. We've actually gotten rid of, I think, 9 people in the past 7 or 8 months that we deemed weren't either a core values fit or we didn't have the seat on the bus that they would probably occupy and be an A player. Like I told you, I had a guy let go of recently that was here 18 months that I tried to justify moving him 4 different times. And it finally came to the conclusion that, yes, he's a good dude. Yes, he's a hard worker. Yes, he'll put the time in, but we don't have that position at our company and he's just on the wrong bus.
Do you know how many companies right now or how many CEOs that are listening to this probably hate you because they're flipped? So they have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 A players, high performers, and everybody else is kind of just in there doing work. And so I love this because what you're expressing is that it's very probable that if you've got a brand and you live core values and you drive a different way of running your business, then you can too be able to load your business up with A players. And you're not the only one. Like I've talked to quite a few businesses where they do unique things and they're about their people and they operate in such a way where they lead with core values and they're stacked. They're stacked with all high performers. And guess what? As an entrepreneur, it's really nice to be able to sleep well at night when people issues are your number one issue, right? So let's do this. Walk me through how if I was gonna set up doing social media and take me through the system that you use or process that you use that you think our entrepreneurs can plug into their business today. How would they do that?
The number one thing you've got to think about, and we'll go back, let's say it's like 20 to 25 years ago, TV changed forever. Survivor came on TV. We believe it was CBS. It was reality TV. It was the first time we were watching stuff every night that didn't have paid actors. These are people doing crazy crap and doing things that intrigue us.
Yeah.
Reality TV is now on your phone. I mean, what do you think people are on Facebook and Instagram? I've been glued to my phone once a day for the past 15 days to watch Bryson DeChambeau, the golfer, try to hit a hole-in-one over his house. Have you seen this?
No.
So
Not
he's
at all.
I don't know if you know Bryson is a professional golfer, and I'm not even a big sports fan anymore. I just casually watch things, but Bryson's a professional golfer. He's got this massive mansion, as you can imagine. It's all glass, and he has a putting green behind his house. And so I think today's day 15. I think that's how well I know it. 15 days ago, he said, hey, today's day 1. I'm going to hit a ball over my house to make a hole in one, which is nerve wracking for me because I would have already destroyed the entire house, like probably most of us. And so every day goes on, he adds another ball. Well, I'm sitting there watching yesterday. He had 14 balls he hit yesterday, 3 of them within inches of the cup. And so he's broadcasting a reality show at no charge. And I can promise you, based on his viewership, he's getting paid by Instagram and Facebook where this content's going out as an influencer.
Yeah.
And so what you have to embrace is that you as a business owner, as a CEO, heck, as a higher up in a company, you have the ability to influence people more than you realize. Now, I will say this, you have to change how you use platforms. I loved arguing during Hillary and Trump's election. I was the dumbass on there arguing about stuff and then realized like, okay, this means nothing. And I had to temper what I said. I didn't make a single post this past election. Didn't mention it, didn't talk about it. You know, my social media now is Matt Plapp. It is me as a dad, me as a wannabe adult athlete, me as an influencer in the entrepreneur world, and then me as a restaurant marketing expert and a boss of my employees. And
As a human.
As a human, yeah. So I use it, and I stay away from off-color comedy because I have that. I stay away from politics, religion. I made a post about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, during the election or during the Olympics, and I was watching and it got me, and I made a post, and within 2 minutes I deleted it. And it's funny, one of my employees deleted it or messaged me and said, hey, I saw you deleted your post. Did you delete it because you realized it was off brand? And they pay attention. I said, you're right. I deleted it because I got caught in the moment. And number 2, I realized within minutes the stupid comments that were going to come the next week. And then I was going to be roped into this argument or this debate that made no sense to what I was actually trying to accomplish with social media. So I would challenge restaurateurs or business owners, anybody, to grab this device and start using it to tell stories. And it's not about selling, huh?
Where? Like, what if I'm going to pick a place? Where would I start?
I would go Facebook or Instagram right away.
Okay.
Instagram is the easiest one with regards to short video. Facebook is the easiest one to reach everybody. Like my daughter's 22. She still is on Facebook. It depends on who your target audience is. Like for me, I got Katie and Ainsley out here who graduated with my daughter and they're 22 years old. They graduated high school together. They both work here now. They came from Facebook because Katie's dad and her mom saw the post I was hiring. And then when I eventually made another post to hire, Katie came to me and said, hey, I've got a friend that needs to work here. Let's bring her in. And, they're both the top 1 and number 2 people in their position here. But a lot of that came from telling the story. So pick a medium and don't worry about being great on all of them, because that's the hard part too, is you think, okay, I got to do Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. I got to do all these platforms. No, pick one and use it, like build your story around that, and then take that content and you can hire somebody, part-time or one of your employees or somebody overseas and just have them take that content and post everywhere else, but only create it for one platform. Like you're thinking, I'm going to be great at Facebook for telling my story, and I'm going to put this stuff everywhere else just for the heck of it because it might as well get it out there. So number 1, pick that platform. I would say Facebook or Instagram for most people. Facebook is probably the best from a standpoint that it allows for virality, that if I make a post on Facebook that, hey, this is happening in my world and 5 people comment on it, it's going to show up in other friends of the same, birds of a feather, their timelines. And so now it gets little viral legs to it. And then after that, once you pick the platform, know who you're talking to, understand, like we're getting ready to have cardboard cutouts brought in here in 2 weeks for my marketing team. And we're having a cutout one of our clients, the specs on that person. This is who every time Matt gets on camera, every time Matt gets on a podcast, this is who we're talking to. So you've got to have that same thing. And then from that standpoint, just be authentic, be you, be fine with saying stupid crap, be fine with stuttering, saying like and critique yourself. Have what I call a nuance spotter. When I first started doing a lot of content, I had a few friends. I said, hey, whenever I put content up, do me a favor, watch it, and then beat me down. And I had a buddy of mine that was like, dude, why do you touch your face so much? What do you mean? You touched your face 28 times. Like I was apparently just nervous tick. And I'm like,
Well,
holy
you know what?
crap.
If you really want to learn too, one of the things that I've been doing is I edit my own content sometimes. I do my own audio content.
Yep.
And when you're forced to go through and cut out all your ums and ahs and
You're,
likes and whatever else you do, you become really
yep.
aware of those things. Because, when you're in the moment, you don't realize how many times you're saying like, what, I mean, it's an eye opener
We all have those crutch words that we have
for sure.
substituted instead of pausing. Funny thing about, 2 years ago, I'm doing a sales meeting. We have a podcast studio on the other side of this wall, and my sales team is out there in the big open area, and we're talking. And I was talking to them about the importance of them. I want them to get active on social media. I'm like, because your next gig, who knows? You might be me in 20 years. I want you to be farther ahead than I was when I got in this seat. And so I'm always challenging them to use content. And my dad is a retired business coach, and he coaches my people 3 days a week. And he's always coaching them to get active on social media. And I said, I'm going to give you an example why. Give me a topic. And so somebody gave me a topic. I went in the studio, my video guy cued the camera, and I did an 8-minute video of me talking to the screen without any cue cards, without anything you can name, just 100% raw on this topic. We came out and we watched the video. I said, I want you to watch this for one reason. I want you to tell me if you think I'm comfortable with what I talk about for a living. And there was an 8-minute video of me talking about this specific thing in marketing. And I told him, I said, that's the level of expert you need to become, because at any point you need to be that comfortable to talk about what you do. And then my camera guy chimed in. He goes, hey, by the way, I just ran this through the software. So, okay, there was not one or like. Like, you ain't kidding me. No. So that's crazy.
That's perfect.
Like, and that was a product of me being terrible on camera for many years. I'm sure I'll look back in 5 years and think I was terrible today. But we all have those things. And so it comes down to getting some reps, getting comfortable with it. I remember my first Facebook Live was at a beer garden at a place called Hofbrauhaus, Pittsburgh. Nobody was watching. Like, you can see the view counter. It's at 0. And I'm like looking at this thing going, my God, nobody's even watching. Am I that worthless on video? But my coach always said, the best time to get better is when nobody's watching. So keep doing those videos. And that was one of the reasons early on. Like, I got a couple of my friends used to call me Facebook Live guy, because my coach Billy said, hey, one of the things you're doing is that you're recording your content and then you're trying to make it perfect. Become comfortable with imperfect content. And so I started going Facebook Live for about a year. I didn't record any content. It was all done live because I knew I couldn't hit stop. It was there. And then once I got more comfortable with myself, I started doing recorded content and watching it. Like you said, chopping it up, eliminating it. Like recently I've realized on my audio podcast, I just did episode 801 for tomorrow. And I just realized I've gotten to this habit of like pausing and thinking, and then I breathe. And so I'm watching, when you watch that audio file, you can see those gaps and you can see the, you're like, oh, so now I'm chopping this video up with 100 things, but you start nitpicking things as you get better and better. But it comes down to just using the platforms, becoming comfortable with being visible to people. And it's amazing how many people will relate to your journey. I always tell restaurant owners this: nobody in their right mind, no kid in their right mind actually wants to go make burritos somewhere. They don't. They just have to get a job. But if you happen to be the boss that has the cool burrito place and has fun, has a disco ball in the bathroom, does a contest every week, high fives people, wears Jordans, whatever, they might want to actually work at your place versus the place down the street because of you.
You bring up such a great point. People want to work for you.
Yep.
I mean, most people quit because of a boss as opposed to because of the work. So if it's a fun place, especially if you're hiring kids,
Yep.
if it's a fun place and they're enjoying the atmosphere, I mean, they don't really care that much about the work. It's more about being part of the environment or being part of something bigger than themselves. Let me ask you this. How often are you using job boards?
Never.
Wait, what?
No, we have, I will say this, we have a listing. I didn't know it was public until recently. There's a thing called Staffed Up. It's actually a restaurant product that we use to accept applications. And I guess they recently integrated with Google. And we got a couple of applications recently. I'm like, why do we get these applications out of nowhere? Like, we usually get about 10 applications a week by default, because you go to americasbestrestaurants.com, you click jobs, and you can see all the positions. I like this app because it allows you to preload every position and say, hey, we're not hiring now, but apply anyways, just in case.
Yeah.
And I guess recently they started integrating with Google because I've got people calling for positions we have open. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's this thing. So outside of that, on purpose, nowhere. We don't go to Indeed. We don't go to Monster. We don't go to wherever people hire from. The only time we have went any board to find people, it's for project work on Upwork, that my team have budgets that, hey, we need this spreadsheet done. We need to get this data out of HubSpot and make it really big. And they go to Upwork and they'll type in, we have some keywords we'll type in there, but they'll find an expert in Google Sheets, HubSpot, and it's $100 project and see you later.
Okay. So I do a daily video, right? If I do a Facebook live stream, right? What do I need to hit? Like, what are the salient points that I need to hit that'll at least give me some sort of engagement?
So the easiest way like I said, put it this way, the biggest way to fail on creating content is to not have a plan. And so I always joke that, like, what happens a lot of times, hey, Matt said I got to post on Facebook, and they get on Facebook, they see a funny cat video, they get into an argument about Trump, they start talking about the football team losing yesterday, and they forget why they're on Facebook, they don't post. And they also like, why am I on here? Make a list and say, you know what? Every Monday is Motivation Monday. I'm going to hop on there every Monday and say, what's going on at your boy MP? It's Monday. It's time to motivate you. Boom, boom, boom. And just find a quote. The great Abraham Lincoln said this. I actually had a quote that somebody called me out on thinking I was being serious, but I have a sign somewhere. I think it's my dad's office now, but it's a quote from Abe Lincoln about the internet. Well, obviously Abe Lincoln wasn't around with the internet, but I put that on Facebook and people got a kick out of it. And then people started commenting like, he wasn't even around. The internet didn't start till 1985. And I'm like, it's a joke, buddy. But Motivational Monday, get on every Monday, drop motivation. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, talk about your favorite restaurant. What you got? What is the meal you're looking forward to that week? Wednesday, talk about business. Thursday, talk about something happening in your company. Friday, talk about the industry. I mean, just come up with a topic every day. And then also maybe even think about a target audience. Like, we talk to restaurant owners. I say, hey, if you're going to get on Facebook and do a video every day of the week, number one, know who you're talking to. So it might be Monday, I'm talking to new customers. Tuesday, I'm talking to my best customers. Wednesday, I'm talking to people who have a birthday. I know a guy that gets on Facebook every week or every day and talks about birthdays. Who's got a birthday today? If you got a birthday, comment below, tag a friend. Somebody knows a birthday. I want you to come to my restaurant, my treat. And it just picks up. But get on there and showcase your personality. Have fun. I used to be very into a cadence of how much we did back then. Now it's muscle memory. Now I have 3 full-time people that work on my marketing team. We film content every day. If they're not here, like they're not today, I film on my phone. If they're here, they're filming. We go to Vegas next week, and I'll have 2 camera people with me traveling, filming in the airport, in the hotel, into the event, me on stage, and we'll create a lot of content on the fly. But the biggest thing to do is just pick up the phone. And why I like every day is that if you start doing something every day, like I did the daily podcast. He was like, why did you do daily podcast every day? Because I knew it needed to be impactful. I needed to do it at some cadence. And for me, doing it every day created a habit. I mean, I travel with a microphone. I was in Orlando, Houston, Miami, and Vegas in the past 3 weeks. And the one night I was out with some friends at a restaurant, look up, it's midnight. I go to bed at 10. Look up, it's midnight. And I'm like, oh crap, I got a podcast still. So I went back to the room, 12:30 at night, got my microphone in the hotel bed, recording the podcast. It's going to be posted at 6:30 next morning. I do it every day. And so I think that getting that muscle memory forces you to do it, but just come up with a schedule and just pick a topic for every Monday. And it might be about your industry, it might be about your sense of humor, it might be about food. Who knows?
You know what? I love that. That's the biggest takeaway for me. Actually planning out a content schedule of Monday, I talked about this, Tuesday, this, getting that muscle, like you just said, getting that muscle memory down and the habit. Now, are you posting on the weekends too, or just Monday through Friday?
I'm on the weekends as well.
Okay,
for
perfect.
most of my stuff. Now, my social content, I don't do it anymore. My team does. So I don't know what cadence they have. They have all these fancy algorithms now. I get yelled at when I make a post here and there. But the other thing too is post things are a little different. Like we took all of my employees, like you can see behind me, Jordans, I wear a different pair of like orange and blue shoes pretty much every day of the week. And I have Jordans, a lot of them. Well, a lot of my employees, most of my employees have them as well. And we've had times where we had like 7 of us that went to all get new shoes. So we videotaped, we were on Facebook and we're getting out of our America's Best Restaurants van, and everybody's got Nike bags. And that was how I got one person to apply, was they saw that and they messaged me and said, this is insane. You buy your employee shoes, like you get orange Jordans. Like it started a conversation. I said, hey, we got nothing right now, but hang tight, keep watching. Something will come up. And next thing they applied, and a month later when something came up and they got hired. But
that's such a great way to attract talent. I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing this, because it's something that we don't do and we need to make it a common practice.
Yep.
So, we're getting pretty close on time, Matt. What would be 2 or 3 key takeaways you can give the audience that can plug into their business or their lives today for this?
The number one thing that I would tell everybody is, number one, tell your story. Pull your phone out. Stop being scared. Don't be shy. Don't worry what people are going to say, and create content daily. Number 2, pick something that's identifiable. I wear orange every single day. My water cup's orange. My jacket that makes me look like Kenny's orange. Your book, there you go. My shoes, my office. I actually had an orange sports car at one point we did for promotional reasons for 2 years. It got a hell of a lot of attention. An orange Lamborghini. It stopped a lot of people. Like, man, you took the brand that far. I'm like, hey, what the hell? But
why not?
I do it all the time. And it's comical because I have people bring me orange gifts. I have people send me pictures of orange stuff. I have people send me, hey, look at this guy at this airport. Does he work for you? Joking around. And one time the guy actually did work for me. It was even funnier. I'm like, yeah, that's Luis. So like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, like, what are the odds? But have something identifiable. Be that person. And then the third person, have a schedule and stick to it. A friend of mine posted yesterday that he is getting off of meat. He said 90 to 120 days. I'm getting off meat, going all fruits and vegetables, not because I'm anti-meat. I'm just resetting my body. And I said, well, and I asked him, what's the 90 to 120? I knew what he meant. He said, well, 90 to 120 days. I go, no, pick a day. There is no 90 to 120, because that means it can stop at 91. It's 90, 91, pick a day. He goes, okay, 120. Perfect. Now put the date. It's not an option. You can't eat meat until that day, period. And so in this case, pick a cadence and say, hey, every day I'm going to put something on Facebook about my journey, and I'm going to pick a topic Monday through Sunday. It is not hard. I mean, you can take your phone out, record a 30-second video, type out a caption, and put it on Facebook in under a minute. So anybody that tells me it's hard is ludicrous. But if you do not set that, I always call it the terrorist between your ears, is that if you tell yourself, like, I'm going to do this, you do it. When I run, if I'm going to run 2 miles, I run a mile away from where I started. I found that trick out a long time ago, that if I want to run 2 miles, like you're running around a track, it's like you can quit at any time. Now I'm running a mile away. I got to run a mile back. So if you're going to do it, number one, pick your platform, pick your topics, pick a color, pick a brand, and then do it all the time, and don't stop. Like, I started doing this content in 2016, and I still question every day if it's still working, but I'm also like, you know what? I'm going to do this for 30 more years. Why not keep doing this and see what happens?
You know what? You have nothing to lose.
No.
Matt, thanks so much for your time investment today, and I want to welcome you to the Higher Power Radio community. Now, what's the best way in which members of the audience can find you, find your business, and maybe apply?
Go to mattplapp.com. That's my website, mattplapp.com. And my blog's on there, my podcast, how to contact me, my cell phone number. If you Google Matt Plapp's cell phone number, you'll find it. I have one phone, one number, and I answer every text, every phone call. I'm always love having conversation, but mattplapp.com, that'll get you all the links you need.
It's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in this week's episode of Higher Power Radio. A quick thanks to our team, Brian Colburn, Andrea Ballin, and Ayla Gerard. Please subscribe, review, and share the podcast. We're listening. We welcome your feedback after all this show's for you. You can check us out further at Higher, H-I-R-E, Power, P-O-W-E-R, Radio, R-A-D-I-O.com, or you can drop me an email at rick@intertrue.ai. I'm your host, Rick Gerard, and you have been listening to the Higher Power Radio Show. Aloha.
Thank you for listening to Higher Power Radio. Catch our LinkedIn Live show every Tuesday at noon or download the podcast on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform. We appreciate you joining us on Higher Power Radio with your guide to hiring success, Rick Gerard.